The air inside the chamber was electric. Every camera light burned hot. Every microphone carried the tension of the moment. Andy Byron sat calm, collected, leaning back slightly in his chair, as if the storm across from him could not touch him. Kristin Cabot, her voice already sharp with accusation, leaned forward with the kind of fury that was meant to intimidate. But in that instant, it was clear to everyone watching. Something was about to snap, and it wouldn't be Andy Byron. By the end of this clash, one voice would rise and one career would shatter. Andy Byron is no stranger to confrontation. The Democratic congressman from California has made a name for himself as a sharp and fearless critic of corruption in politics. Known for his quick wit and ability to expose contradictions with surgical precision, Byron represents the new guard of politicians who thrive in the public arena, using facts as weapons and composure as armor. He's battled corporate lobbying, rejected oil money, and built a reputation as a progressive who isn't afraid of the fight. His critics call him theatrical, but his supporters call him a truth teller. And tonight, truth was on his side. Opposite him sat Kristin Cabot, a Republican senator from Texas, whose fiery presence has long dominated headlines. Cabot has built her brand on combativeness, aligning herself tightly with corporate interests and portraying herself as a defender of American industry. She thrives on noise, on volume, on commanding a room with defiance. To her supporters, she is a warrior who refuses to back down. To her opponents, she is an embodiment of arrogance and hypocrisy. She has clashed with Democrats time and again, but tonight, against Andy Byron, her usual arsenal would fail her. The clash began with a pointed accusation. Cabot, her tone dripping with contempt, accused Byron of hypocrisy, claiming that while he railed against corporate donations, he himself was secretly entangled in the same system. Her words echoed through the chamber like daggers, calculated to corner him. "You sit here pretending to be pure," she snapped. "But everyone knows you've taken corporate money. Don't lecture us about corruption when your own hands aren't clean." The audience, lawmakers, and press alike leaned forward. It was the opening move of a dangerous game, and Cabot delivered it with all the force she could summon. Byron didn't flinch. He didn't interrupt. He let her finish every word. That silence was deafening, a calm before the storm that left even Cabot uncertain. Then, leaning forward, he spoke, not loudly, not with fire, but with a controlled precision that immediately shifted the balance of power. He explained that in the last election cycle, he had rejected donations from the largest 3 oil companies in the nation. Not a dollar from them had touched his campaign. Meanwhile, Cabot had not only accepted their funds, but had taken more from oil and gas interests than any other sitting senator. The chamber rippled with murmurs, the press scribbling furiously, the camera zooming in on her tightening jaw. The tension deepened. Cabot tried to recover, raising her voice, dismissing Byron as a showman, chasing headlines. She accused him of grandstanding, of twisting facts for applause. But as her voice rose, Byron's stayed steady. He met her fury with composure, a smirk playing at the edges of his expression. Every time she tried to strike, her blows landed on stone. The audience could feel the dynamic shift. One was fighting with desperation, the other with control. Byron then reached for a folder in front of him. Slowly, deliberately, he pulled out a set of documents. The camera zoomed in. The chamber fell silent. These were not just statistics or vague accusations. These were records, internal memos that revealed Cabot's office had worked hand in hand with corporate lobbyists to draft legislation that directly benefited those same oil companies. The evidence was undeniable, a smoking gun held up for the entire nation to see. Gasps erupted across the room. The scandal was no longer an accusation. It was a revelation. Cabot froze. Her usual fire drained from her expression. She stumbled over her words, attempting to pivot, to distract, but the documents were damning. Byron seized the moment, his voice firm, cutting through the air with devastating clarity. "The difference between us, Senator," he said, pausing for effect, "is that I fight corruption while you sign its checks." The chamber exploded. Applause thundered. Some laughed in disbelief at the precision of the blow. Cameras captured the moment in high definition, Cabot's stunned face juxtaposed with Byron's calm poise. It was the line that would echo across social media within minutes, the line that would define the night. The chair banged the gavel, calling for order, but it was too late. The moment had already escaped into the world beyond those walls. The climax was brutal in its elegance. Byron didn't need to yell. He didn't need theatrics. He dismantled his opponent with evidence, composure, and timing. Each fact was a strike. Each pause was a weapon. Cabot, the once dominant fighter, was reduced to silence. Her attempts at recovery fell flat, her voice cracking, her confidence shattered. The hearing had become a stage, and on that stage, Andy Byron had delivered the performance of a lifetime. The aftermath was swift. By the time the hearing ended, clips of the confrontation had already gone viral. On Twitter, hashtags like Byron destroys Cabot and hashtag checksigner trended within minutes. News outlets scrambled to replay the footage, anchors dissecting every word, every facial expression. Supporters hailed Byron as a fearless truth-teller who exposed corruption in real time. Cabot's allies scrambled to defend her, but the damage was done. Editorials questioned her integrity. Commentators called it the most devastating takedown in recent congressional memory. In the days that followed, the fallout grew. Cabot's credibility plummeted. Interviews became hostile, reporters pressing her on the exposed memos. Her campaign donors grew uneasy. Her political rivals smelled blood. Meanwhile, Byron soared. His approval ratings spiked. His name circulated as a potential future Senate candidate. Even whispers of presidential ambitions began to stir. What began as a confrontation had transformed into a defining moment of political destiny. And when history looks back, it will not remember the accusations Cabot hurled. It will not remember her attempts to shout down her opponent. What will be remembered is the silence that followed, the stunned silence of a senator caught, the silence of a chamber that witnessed truth shatter arrogance, and the silence of Kristin Cabot as Andy Byron calmly delivered the line that ended her argument and perhaps her career. In politics, some moments fade, but this one will remain etched forever, a masterclass in composure, evidence, and the dismantling of power built on corruption.